afternoon, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. It's been quite some time since I've been on here. Hope everybody's doing well. Have a couple of things I would like to address. Quite frankly, just gonna give some people a chance to get on here and see what's going on. I miss everybody. The reason why I was off Instagram for so long is because I had got a new phone and Meta changed up their algorithm and security features. So I was unable to get into the Instagram. So I had to go through a bunch of little hoops and hurdles. It was probably almost like 2 years almost before I got my page back. But anyways, I'm here now. Yeah, so I just wanted to kind of, clear the air real quick, address a couple matters. I know there's a lot of things stirring up on the internet right now in regards to, Shireen and I. I'll definitely dive into it and give you guys a lot of meat, when the time is appropriate. But I just want to, as a whole, I want to address some things for everybody out there. It's like people have this tendency to catch amnesia, when it best suits them, it best fits them. People also create this false narrative within their head. It's almost like when the person psychoanalyzes something, right? They'll do anything in their power to believe what they have fixated in their mind. It's almost like equivalent to a person going outside and saying, "Oh, the sky is red," and they really believe that the sky is red, but it's not. It's blue, So it's very easy to do, especially when you're manipulated, especially when you want to make, get your point across, and you want to seem like, you're the victim or you're telling the truth about something. And that's the thing too, everybody screams victim. Everybody wants to be a victim, but nobody wants to hold themselves accountable and take into the accounts of what they've done, because everybody knows that there's an origin to every situation in life. There's a beginning to a story. It's, one side, the other side, and the truth, as they say. But yeah, the truth will definitely be revealed. I feel like people in relationships, it's supposed to be an ebb and flow. One person might be the financial provider. One person might need to, take care of the home. The other person, might need to, take care of the kids while the other person's out working, so forth, so on. It's supposed to collectively come together. But I could just speak for myself. I know since I came home from prison, I've been home for about, almost 5.5 years. I came home running, busting my ass every day, ups and downs, $2 million restitution, family issues, fighting with, for my, with Phaedra and stuff like that, with the kids, just trying to transition back into society, getting acclimated. It's a lot that goes on in the everyday life of my life, just trying to get, the mental back stable. I will attest to the fact that when people go through, it could be any type of diversity, I feel like it does take time to, kind of sift through it and come out, if you will. And I think it's almost like, let's just say you take a person who's done, God forbid it ever happened to anybody, but I mean, it happens on a regular, but say someone had to do, 20 years in the penitentiary, and then they come home. Do you think they're really going to be acclimated or they're mentally adjusted within 1 or 2 years? No, it's going to take some time, especially if they're faced with, the everyday life obstacles, But yeah, I've always stood tall. I know who I am as a person. I know what I bring to the table. I know what people learned from me. Some people come into situations where, they just take. I provide education. I try to provide stability. I have structure. There's certain things that I believe in that other people don't believe in. I feel like children should be raised a certain way. And other people feel like children shouldn't be raised a certain way. People feel like, children should, that we're a new age in time, that, you should just let kids continue to be. There's one thing about being expressive, about a child being expressive and expressing their emotions and feelings, but it's a thin line between being expressive and being disrespectful and understanding your position. But, that's for another segment. But yeah, mainly, I'm just really sick of people sitting here pointing their finger all the time, screaming victim. How do you, for example, how do you post something, give the world access to your life, and then you can't withstand the scrutiny? I mean, that's like an oxymoron, right? That's like me going out here doing something. I'll give you an example. Shit, when I caught my case, this is some knowledge for y'all people. Y'all need to wake up sometimes. When I caught my case, how can I be mad? I'm a public figure and it's all on the internet, all on the news, all across the world. How can I get mad at the negative things that people said? So, but I don't have a problem when someone says something positive. So it's an ebb and flow. You got to take the good with the bad, especially if you put yourself out there to the public, especially if you display and you broadcast your business, your personal business, the things that goes on within your home, the things that goes on within your relationships. People need to be cognizant of that. They don't need to, go out here and share, with the world, the things that goes on in their, in the close confines of their relationship and their house and things like that. I feel like certain things should be held a little more sacred and be discussed amongst each other versus, put out there. But people calling me right now, trying to disturb me while I'm, doing what I'm doing. But I feel like, hey, if everybody wants to put shit out there and air it out, we can air it out, do what we want to do. I got a platform. I got a mouth. I got a platform. I don't mind telling the truth because I know what I've done. I know what I bring to the table. I know what I've tried to do. I even stayed up in Philadelphia for 1.5 years before I came back to Atlanta, and people know, the whole premise of that, just because I felt like, it's not fair for a person to just uproot and move everything that they work for just to come with me down to Atlanta. So everybody has sacrifices. I'm not out here continuously pointing the finger. I'm not out here, posting stuff, saying, wild stuff on. Look at my page. I don't say anything. I don't sit here and try to make a mockery out of a situation. At the end of the day, you would think people would be more close-knitted and take better care of one another, even if you're friends, family, whatever it may be. And again, people can continue to think something negative. I've said nothing negative in this live. I've been nothing but straight to the point. Again, it goes. The premise of this is that people have to wake up sometimes and people can't point the finger all the time. That's what they want to do. They want to point the finger. Please stop calling me. Stop calling me. I have nothing to say. Nobody wants to talk when I'm trying to call people. They don't want to answer the phone, but now all of a sudden I'm supposed to answer the phone. Come on. That's the thing. Manipulation goes a long way too. Ladies, y'all have to stop manipulating these men out here. You have to stop sitting here, talking about narcissistic behavior. Guess what? If you're sitting here calling someone a narcissist, I guarantee you that you're a emasculator. Because emasculation is a real thing. Y'all women emasculate men. Not everybody, but it's true. It's a real thing. It's the same way that you can categorize narcissistic behavior, you can categorize, emasculation. So, you gotta give and take. So, you know, for me, you know, this is not about, this is about the truth. This is not, you know, sitting here trying to bash nobody or anything like that. This is about, listen, everybody, even myself. Sometimes, you know, I can point the finger and not take the blame for certain things. Am I at fault for shit? Definitely, most definitely. I'm at fault for a lot of things that happens in my life. You know, the Quran and the Bible, they all say that they say that the calamity is caused by one's hand. So it's based on what they have done and or what they're a part of. So, you know, it is what it is. You know, I'm just tired of, you know, continuously waking up and it's like negative shit all the time. You know, I'm trying to just be positive. And again, you know, I'm not out here, you know, putting shit out here for the world to see. Well, now I am. It's time, you know, because I have a voice, you know, I have a platform. I have a big platform, actually, you know, and I just don't exercise it all the time. But, you know, I think it might be time because, look, man, I'm in a different headspace right now. I think I'm just tired of people just thinking I'm like a piñata. I'm just hanging there. You could just keep swinging that mother, you know what I'm saying, and just till just burst open. I mean, I am human at the end of the day. I do have feelings, despite what, you know, people may think and what I've been through in life. I do, definitely. You know, so that's about it. You know, I'm going to tap in later, you know, see how this goes. You know, hopefully, you know, some people in the world will come to their senses a little bit, you know, and, you know, look at things in totality, you know. And then you got other family members and stuff jumping on bandwagons. People need to stay in their place because you only get one side of it, right? You know, but again, I know what I've done. I know what I've sacrificed. I know what I bring to the table. I know what I've tried to do. You know, you got to take the good and the bad. What does it say? When people get married, they say for sickness and in health, for better, for worse, right? It's good and bad. You can't always be on a winning team, and then when you're down by 20, you just giving up, you know, throwing a tantrum, or do you just, you know, stick in there and try to come back? You know, I have this saying, right, that I hate. I don't hate the saying, but I hate how the story pans out. But it's more so like, you know, we could be in the middle of the ocean, right? In a boat, we got 4 oars, and you got your partner in there, and you got 2 holes in it, and you got 2 buckets. It's like, you know, sometimes I feel like in relationships, one person is dumping all the water out and rowing at the same time, while the other person is sitting there screaming and yelling and complaining instead of either helping row to shore or dumping the water out, trying to save. You know, it's more so just pounding versus trying to uplift and help the individual, you know, get to safe grounds. And, you know, the woe is me is always what a person's not doing for them. You're not doing this for me. You're not doing that for me. You're not doing this. You're this. You're that. You know, I feel like, too, y'all people out there in the world, stop putting people in your business. If you're going to put somebody in your business, it needs to be somebody that's going to be non-biased, or someone that's going to pat you on the back and be like, yo, you know you were wrong for that, right? You know that wasn't right. You know what you said wasn't right. You know what you said was emasculating, right? You know that was really cruel what you said to that person. How do you expect for that person to bounce back? I will say this, speaking of bouncing back, in verbiage, I had a friend to tell me something, man, and this was so prolific. They said to me, I'll never yell at you. I'll never talk down on you. If I feel like I need to get to that point, they said, listen, I'm just going to walk away, and don't come for me. Don't come after me. Just let me digress. Let me walk away, right? And I was just like, you know, why? You know, why not the confrontation? They was like, because if I say something negative to you, you can't retract the words that you say to people. You can't take back verbiage. You can't take back harsh and mean things that are said to a person. So they're saying to me, they say, look, I look at the future. I want to see you 5 years from now. I want to see you 10 years from now. I want to have a future with you as a friend. So how can I have a future with you as a friend if I'm sitting here bashing you and or if I'm saying cruel things to you It's just not going to work, because that's not love. That's not what it, again, granted, we're probably all guilty of it, right? But it's not too late to readjust. It's not too late to change, your direction and the things that you say, to people. It's not too late. It's not too late to be kind. It's not too late to apologize. And that's the thing too. A lot of people, men and women, I see it in women more than men, that you all are non-apologetic. And again, this is not for everybody. So don't sit here and say, oh, he's going after a woman. He's going after a woman. No, definitely not. I think women are special. I think women are beautiful. And again, I do not have to be suppressed. I do not have to shut my mouth. Okay? I don't. Okay? I don't have to do any of that. I can say whatever I want to say. Freedom of speech. So anyways, yeah, I just, I wish everybody well on this amazing Friday. Have a great holiday weekend. Be safe out there. And again, I'm going to definitely, this is just kind of like, just shaving some of the coconut, off a little bit, little flakes. But yeah, we can get to the whole, to the meat of it at some point, most definitely. I think that's going to be great. Again, this is not to offend anybody. It's just sometimes you got to wake up, you got to look at what you do sometimes versus always what the other person does. And again, you don't sit here and, like I told you can't get mad if something's publicized and people have their own narrative. And, the media people, the fans or whoever it may be out there, the people that entertain this foolery, right? I can't get mad if I throw my business out there and you all have an opinion on it. I should have kept my mouth shut or kept my fingers to myself and not been posting shit. You know what I'm saying? But hey, again, there's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of questions that I have based on things. I'm going to live my life. It is what it is, So, hey, we'll just figure it out. I love everybody. I appreciate the support I do get. Shit ain't easy. It definitely ain't easy out here. That's for sure. Everybody knows that. It's definitely difficult. But and then, the people that know me, they know what I stand for. They know exactly what I stand for. And a lot of times too, I'm self-taught. I go get it out. I go get it how I get it. Pick up a book, I read, I study. Building these houses, that shit ain't easy. That ain't easy. Education, hard work. Not being afraid to go out there and try. You can't be afraid to fail. Can't be afraid to fail. Failure is what brings success. So, just remember that, and just stay cool. And congratulations to everybody who's graduating today, graduating this year. Pat yourself on the back. Remember, when you're getting down on yourself, you got to pat yourself on the back for your accomplishments. Don't let people get you down. Don't let people tear you down. You have to reward yourself, and we're not talking about monetary, mentally. You have to mentally pick yourself up. You have to tell yourself that you do good. You have to tell yourself, great job, because other people might not tell you how good you are as a person. People might not tell you, they appreciate you as an individual. They appreciate what you bring to the table. So pat yourself on the back, especially if you got a good heart and you don't mean harm to nobody, So congratulations to everybody out there who's doing well, and I want everybody to be safe out here for the holidays and just, enjoy your family time, enjoy your time with your friends. Some people want to be alone. Enjoy your time. You deserve it. Everybody deserves to have some type of peace. Everybody deserves to have some love in their life too. And and so just, stay firm. And I appreciate everything. Thank you.
Larger.